Young and the Restless weekly preview. Sharon missing, Phyllis suspected. Next week, on Young and the Restless, Sharon Newman vanishes. Indeed, her family thinks it's strange and doesn't make any sense that she is suddenly nowhere to be found. Soon, Nick Newman is at Crimson Lights with his daughters, Mariah Copeland and Summer Newman. With them are Daniel Romalotti and Detective Chance Chancellor. First, Summer and Daniel were beginning to worry because they couldn't get in contact with their mother, Phyllis Summers. So they called Chance, who's with the Genoa City Police Department, on Young and the Restless. And next week, Sharon's family can't get a hold of her either. Indeed, they're all starting to panic a little. Then, Daniel states that both his mother and Sharon are missing, and he asks Chance if he thinks there's something more to it. Nick chimes in that it seems like a weird coincidence. Daniel agrees and says why would the two of them go anywhere together? They hate each other. Then, Mariah says maybe one of them didn't go willingly. So, it seems she's suggesting that either Sharon or Phyllis kidnapped the other. Or rather, that Phyllis snatched Sharon, no doubt, that's what they're all thinking. Of course, that is unlikely on Young and the Restless. It's more likely that Ian Ward snatched them both as part of a new evil plan. After all, he is still very much alive and hiding out somewhere. And he is not done with Sharon or the Newman family. But they all think he's dead, so Phyllis is the likely suspect. Y&R next week spoilers. Adam and Chelsea get closer. While everyone tries to make sense of Sharon Newman's, Sharon case, and Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, disappearances, something shifts for a former couple. Next week, Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, and Chelsea Lawson, Melissa Claire Egan, get more comfortable with each other. Soon, they're sitting at a romantic dinner table on Young and the Restless. Then, Adam says, "Look at us. Who thought we would be here?" Chelsea replies, "Definitely not me." Indeed, they turn a corner this week. And it appears that Chelsea Lawson takes a step toward a romantic reunion with Adam. Young and the Restless next week spoilers. Damien grills Lily. Meanwhile on Y&R, Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, goes out to dinner with Damian Kane, Jermaine Rivers. She agreed to dinner if he would visit his mother, Amy Lewis, Valerie Pettiford, one more time and hear her out. He did, and they made some slight progress. Now, Damien wants to know all about Lily. Next week, on Young and the Restless, he says that he told her all about his family drama. She agrees that yes, he did. He continues that he still knows very little about her. And of course, his first question is if she is romantically involved with anyone. This makes Lily laugh. Clearly, he is interested in her and has been from the moment he laid eyes on her. And spoilers promise that he isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Y&R is exciting and suspenseful next week. Don't miss a moment to see what happened to Phyllis and Sharon Newman on the CBS daytime drama. It was a cool, quiet morning in Genoa City, the kind of morning that usually promised normalcy. But in a town like this, peace never lasted long. By noon, the entire town would be buzzing with the same question. Where is Sharon Newman? At Crimson Lights, the regular crowd had gathered. The smell of espresso hung in the air. But something was off. The lights were dimmer than usual, and the barista station looked untouched. Mariah Copeland arrived first, expecting to grab a latte before heading to the tack house. Instead, she found the door locked, something that never happened. Sharon was always there early, humming to herself, wiping down the counter, and greeting the day with her trademark warmth. Mariah frowned, knocking on the door. No answer. She fished out her phone and dialed. It rang endlessly before going to voicemail. Sharon's calm voice filled the silence. "Hey, it's Sharon. Leave a message and I'll get back to you soon." A cold chill ran down Mariah's spine. By mid-morning, word had spread. Nick Newman showed up at the coffee house, his worry masked by that classic Newman determination. "She wouldn't just disappear," he said firmly, pulling out his phone to call Chance Chancellor. Within minutes, Chance was there. Serious, collected, and already thinking like a detective. "There's no sign of forced entry," Chance said after examining the shop. "Her purse and phone are missing, but her car is still parked out back." "That's not a good sign." Mariah's voice trembled. What if something happened to her? She was supposed to meet Tessa last night after closing, but she never showed. Nick's jaw tightened. Someone took her. The room fell silent. Phyllis enters the picture. A few hours later, the door to Crimson Lights creaked open, and in walked Phyllis Summers, heels clicking against the tile, a bright smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Well, this place looks gloomy," she quipped, glancing around at the somber faces.
"What's going on?"
Nick turned, his expression dark.
"Sharon's missing."
Phyllis froze for just a moment, a flicker of something crossing her face before she quickly masked it.
"Missing?
What do you mean missed her
watching
closely? She hasn't been seen since last night.
You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you, Phyllis?"
Phyllis laughed lightly, brushing her hair over her shoulder. "You think I had something to do with that? Come on, Chance. I might have my issues with Sharon, but I'm not a kidnapper." Still, her tone didn't convince anyone. Not entirely.
Mariah folded her arms. "You were at society last night arguing with her, weren't you?"
Phyllis blinked, clearly caught off guard. "Oh, so now gossip travels faster than caffeine around here." "Yes, I saw Sharon. We had words. Big deal. I thought she was being her usual holier-than-thou self, and I told her so."
"That doesn't mean I did anything to her."
But Chance wasn't buying it. "You said you saw her at society."
"What time was that?"
"Late," Phyllis admitted. "Maybe around 9. We ran into each other by the bar. She accused me of trying to stir up trouble between Nick and Summer." Nick frowned, his patience wearing thin.
"Were you?"
Phyllis's smile faltered. "Nick, please. I was defending myself. Sharon's been on some kind of mission lately, acting like everyone's moral compass. Maybe she was stressed. Maybe she went off to clear her head." But Mariah wasn't having it. She wouldn't just leave like that. Not without telling US. Not without saying goodbye to her grandkids. A new clue emerges. Chance received a call from the GCPD.
"They found Sharon's phone," he said grimly. "Dumped near Chancellor Park."
The group rushed to the scene, the autumn leaves crunching underfoot. The phone was half buried under a bench, its screen cracked. A single red hair clung to the corner of the case. Chance carefully bagged it. "We'll test this for DNA, but this looks like it could be Phyllis's." Nick looked stunned.
"Tell me this isn't happening."
Phyllis's voice wavered.
"Oh my God, you can't seriously think I would. Then explain why your hair is on Sharon's phone."
Mariah snapped. Phyllis took a shaky breath. "Because she threw it at me, okay? During our argument. It hit my shoulder and fell. I didn't even pick it up."
"Ask the bartender. He saw everything."
Chance nodded, making a note. "We'll check it out.
But until then, don't go far."
Phyllis's voice dropped to a whisper. "You think I'd hurt her, but you don't know the half of it. Sharon said something last night. Something about me that made no sense. She said she knew what I did."
"I thought she was bluffing."
Nick stared at her, horrified.
"What did she mean?"
"I don't know," Phyllis said softly.
"But whatever it was, maybe it's why she's gone."
Nick's desperation. That night, Nick couldn't sleep. He paced his house, replaying every conversation he'd had with Sharon over the past week. She'd been distracted, mentioning some mysterious project she was working on, something personal but important. He called Chance again at midnight. Check her office at the crisis center.
Maybe she left something behind.
When they arrived, the door was unlocked. Inside, Sharon's desk was tidy except for one folder sitting squarely in the center. It was labeled Project Phoenix. Inside were notes, phone numbers, meeting times, and one line that chilled them both. "If anything happens to me, tell Nick to look at the past, not the future." Nick felt his stomach twist. What the hell does that mean? Chance's expression darkened. Maybe Sharon stumbled onto something from years ago, something someone didn't want her to find. Phyllis's breaking point. Back at her hotel, Phyllis sat on the edge of her bed, trembling. The mirror reflected a woman on the verge of collapse. She'd spent years reinventing herself, clawing back from scandal after scandal. But this time, she couldn't shake the feeling that everything was unraveling again. She opened her laptop, scrolling through her emails until she found one from Sharon, sent just hours before she vanished. The subject line, "I know." Her hands shook as she clicked it open. "Phyllis, we need to talk. I can't stay silent anymore. Meet me tonight, behind crimson lights. You'll want to hear this from me before someone else finds out." Phyllis gasped, realizing what it meant.
Sharon had discovered something. Something Phyllis had buried long ago.
She grabbed her phone, dialing Nick's number. "Nick, it's me."
"You have to listen. I didn't hurt Sharon, but I think she found something connected to the fire at the old Grand Phoenix site years ago.
Someone's covering their tracks."
"You have to believe me." The line went dead.
The final twist.
At dawn, Chance received a report. Security footage from a nearby street camera had come in. It showed Sharon walking toward the alley behind crimson lights around 10 p.m.
A dark SUV pulled up beside her. She turned, startled.
The driver stepped out, their face obscured by the shadows.